Hello everyone, this is Lord Kernian here, and I am back with round 5 from the Nova Open tournament that took place in August of 2014 in Arlington, Virginia. And this round sees me drawn up against Dark Elves, which I was once again really excited about. I love facing Dark Elves with High Elves. So here's my list if you haven't seen it before. And here's my opponent's list. I don't have an exact list for my opponent. He didn't have enough army lists to give me one, which is fine. I drew up this list based on what I remember and from the pictures. So he had a Supreme Sorceress, level 4 Death, with a Scroll and a 4+ Ward. He had a Dreadlord and a Pegasus with the Cloak of Twilight, 1-up armor, and other stuff. I think he had a magic weapon of some form. Might have been Ogre Blade. He has a Sorceress level 2 Shadow with the Ring of Hotep and Ring of Hotep riding a steed. He has a Death Hag BSB with some form of magic weapon. He has 38 Executioners full command, 19 Dark Shards with Musician and Standard. Then he's got 3 units of 5 Dark Riders with Musician and Shields, 12 more Dark Shards with Musician and Standard, 6 Doomfire Warlocks, 2 units of 5 Harpies, and 3 Repeater Bolt Throwers. So looking at this unit, I see that he's got basically one combat threat that I'm worried about, and I'm not even that worried about it. Executioners, they're good. They're not as good as some other elite infantry out there. They don't keep their ASF. They're strength 6, which is scary, and they have killing blow, which is also scary, but I don't know. I feel like it could be a lot worse. I was helped a lot by the fact that I rolled what used to be called the Flames of the Phoenix spell. I forget what it's called now. Basically, it's a strength 4 hit on every model in the unit, and it remains in play. So it does that every single magic phase. I got that on my level 2 high. If I can get that spell off, I mean, that's just a case of, 6 dicing it and hoping I get double 6 on that. If I can get that spell off on that unit, severely weaken them. Even if I can't get that off, though, I still think I can deal with them. Between my Swordmasters, my White Lions, and my Silver Helms with my characters in it, I should be able to put a serious dent in this Executioner's unit. If I can drop them, then there's nothing else to threaten me. Then it's just a case of clearing off his chaff and getting into his backlines, getting into his level 4 death, and clearing up points. So once that unit's gone, the rest of the game, it's basically a case of cleanup, I feel. So that was the plan. Going for deployment, going left to right for my opponent, he has his unit of 6 Warlocks here with his level 2 Shadow. Next to them, he has a unit of 5 Dark Riders. Up here on the hill, he has 3 Repeater Bolt Throwers with Harpies in front of them. Next to them, he has 12 Dark Shards. Next to those 12 Dark Shards, he has his unit of 19 Dark Shards with his level 4 in there. In front of them, he has a unit of Harpies. Then next to them, to the right, he has a big unit of 40 Executioners with his BSB in there. Behind them, he has his Dreadlord and a Pegasus. And then over here on this far flank, he has 2 units of 5 Dark Riders. So lined up against him on the left side, I have 2 units of 5 Illyrian Reavers. Out of picture a little bit, I have 10 Archers in the woods, accompanied by a Bolt Thrower also in the woods, all aiming to take pot shots at this flank and hope to at least delay him. Over here towards the center, I have a Eagle there. Next to them, I have the unit of 21 Swordmasters. Next to them, 24 White Lions with both of my mages in there to get some protection from miscasts from the Band of the World Dragon. Next to them on the hill, I have 3 Bolt Throwers around that hill. 10 Archers back here on this flank, and next to them I have my unit of Silver Helms. So I was pretty happy with deployment here. Between the 3 Bolt Throwers and the Archers, I should be able to clear his chaff on this flank. Once that happens, I'm putting a lot of pressure on his Executioner block. He's going to have to, if he wants to advance, he needs to pick a side. And if he's picking a side, he's either going to advance towards my main line, where he's giving up a flank to my Silver Helms, or he needs to advance towards my Silver Helms, where he's giving up a flank charge from my White Lions. Either case is fine with me. I just need to make sure that I keep that unit chaffed up until I'm ready to charge in my turn. Dark Elves won the roll for first turn, and yeah, he didn't advance that much. I think he was a little worried about the amount of shooting I have here. Didn't want me to shoot out his Dark Riders and cause some panic checks on his Warlocks. So he didn't advance much. Just kind of sat back, I guess, waiting to cast some Doom Bolt at my guys, try to clear out some of my shooting. What he did though is advanced his Harpies behind that wall to get some protection from shooting. And then otherwise, he just kind of shuffled forward. His unit of 12 Dark Shards wheeled and faced towards my 10 Archers. And then over here, yeah, he wheeled his Executioners and advanced towards my Silver Helms, which is fine with me. That means he's just going to be giving up a flank charge to my White Lions, which I'm perfectly cool with. He advanced his Harpies and his Dreadlord behind that wall to charge into my Bolt Throwers next turn. And then over here he advanced both his units of Dark Riders to threaten my Bolt Throwers and otherwise make a nuisance of themselves and prevent my Silver Helms from advancing and whipping around the flank of his Executioners. Magic was pretty uneventful. I'm well out of range of his level 4 death. Even though level 4 death advanced a little bit, the only things in range are my mages that are in the Band of the World Dragon unit. So that's not a very winning proposal for his perspective. So what he did do was he cast Doombolt from his Warlocks over on the far left. I was able to dispel that. Nothing else really happened. Shooting though, he shot at these guys with his 20 Dark Shards. Was able to kill 5. And over here he shot with his Dark Riders into this unit of Reavers and killed 1 of them. And then finally on this flank, his 2 units of 5 Dark Riders shot at my Archers and killed 4. So we go into High Elf turn 1. So yeah, he didn't place his Harpies in great position. I had a pretty easy charge with that unit of Reavers into them. So he fled, and so I scooted forward a little bit. Otherwise, my Archers wheeled and advanced to the edge of the woods to get clean shots at his Warlocks. There's just a picture of his Harpies fleeing. And then for my center, yeah, I wheeled and advanced them basically full steam towards his Executioners. Kind of playing into my initial plan of trapping them between a rock and a hard place and making him give me a flank with my White Lions. Magic, yeah, so it was a pretty even phase. I think it was like 6 to 7. So I cast Spirit Leech once at his Harpies, dispelled. Cast Spirit Leech again at his Harpies, dispelled. I rolled pretty low. He's able to dispel it with 1 dice. Then I cast Fireball for my Lore Master, dispelled it again. Was able to get through all 3 spells pretty easily, which was a little unfortunate. I really wanted to clear those Harpies, but oh well. Shooting though was pretty successful, but 1 unit of Archers and 1 Bolt Thrower shot at that unit of Dark Riders, completely killed them. He was fine with panic though. Next 2 Bolt Throwers shot at that unit of Dark Riders and killed 3 of them, which I feel is a little bit below average, but I mean, what can you do? Over here with shooting though, I was a lot more successful. I shot with my Archers, my Bolt Thrower, and my 4 Reavers, and was able to kill 3 of his Warlocks, which was nice. And we go to Dark Elf's turn 2, and he starts off his turn 2 with a whole lot of charges. He declares a charge with his Dreadlord into my center Bolt Thrower, his Harpies into my far right Bolt Thrower, and his Dark Riders went into the Bolt Thrower on my far right. Sorry, the Harpies are going to the ones to the far left. And here's where I noticed my mistake. You'd think after 4 games in this tournament that I would learn to be careful with my Eagles. But no, this is apparently a lesson that's going to be really hard to learn for me. I place these Eagles in a perfect position to where when he charges in and clears my Bolt Throwers, he overruns into my Eagles. Stupid idea. Just giving away my Eagles for free. But yeah, I guess some lessons are harder to learn than others. So that was a big mistake from my end. Over here is Harpies rallied, which was nice for him. And yeah, not to have a spoiler, but I didn't have a picture after movement before shooting. But yeah, he killed both Bolt Throwers and overran into my Eagles, as I was worried about at the beginning of the turn, which sucks. In terms of remaining movement, he marched his Executioners full steam towards my Silver Helms, which we actually had misplayed the rule here. I didn't see that he marched until I was going through the battle report. I thought he just moved 5, and then he was closer than I initially thought. He apparently marched, which means he should have been taking difficult terrain check. Rules for the tournament said that marshes count as difficult terrain for everybody, so he should have been taking difficult terrain checks here. I didn't make him do it because I thought he had only moved 5, but it wasn't until looking back at the pictures I saw he actually had to have moved 10 to get that close. Not a huge oversight. I don't think it wasn't malicious on his part. I just think he just didn't know that rule, and you know, it was kind of hidden somewhere in the tournament pack. But that put a lot more pressure on my Silver Helms than I had been thinking they'd be under at the end of my turn 1. So that was a bit of a surprise there. Shooting phase, the unit of 20 Dark Shards opened up in my White Lions, killed a couple, and his unit of 12 Dark Shards shot at my Silver Helms or Swordmasters and killed a couple of them. Over here, he completely whiffed with his Dark Riders charging into this Bolt Thrower, and yeah, he didn't kill any. I killed one of him. He had charge. I had 1 wound. We tied. So we got a High Elf turn 2. Oh yeah, and his bolt throwers on the hill. They also took some shots at my sword masters. Killed a couple as well. So we go to High Elf turn 2, and the executioners moving that close really took me off guard. I didn't expect them to be that close. Right now, they're I think it's like a 7 or 8 inch charge to my silver helms, which is just way too close for comfort for my end. But both my eagles are gone, so I wasn't sure what to do here. So it was like a 9 inch charge from my white lions to his executioners. So I took the charge. Ideally, I'd want my silver helms in there as well, but I wasn't about to risk it on a 9 inch on my lions making a 9 inch charge. So the lions went in alone. I figured they could last a couple turns, especially with magic buffs, and take my charge into that unit at the top of my turn 3. The archers then charged to rescue the bolt thrower, and both units made it pretty easily, which was nice. The lions rolled the 9 they needed. I think they rolled like a 10 actually, and made it into the flank of the executioners, which is going to be bad for the executioners, but I'm just worried about standing up to him once he reforms. I really need to hope that I deal enough wounds to break his steadfast. So there's that. Magic, yeah, so I had 3 combat buffs that are important. I have Ice Shard, Miasma, and one more. I know these words. Oh yeah, the Life Signature. So I tried to cast all 3. I was able to get all 3 spells off, and he was able to dispel all 3 of them, completely neutering my magic phase. I actually burned a scroll here, so that was nice at least. But that was a little unfortunate. I'm really not optimistic that my lions can survive to the bottom of turn 3. I think they're going to be wiped once he reforms now. But oh well. Over here though, we go to shooting phase, and this was a lot more successful. I opened up with my 10 archers and 4 of my reavers, and am able to kill the rest of his warlocks. It wasn't even that I was rolling really hot. He just couldn't make a ward save at all. I think he was failing easily 3/4 of the ward saves of the number of wounds I was putting on him. It got to the point where, I mean, at one point we were joking that, like, you know, the Dreadlord goes up to the warlocks and asks them, like, hey, do you guys want to go raid Ultuan? And, you know, we were joking that his warlocks were like, well, I mean, we don't have any of our stuff with us, but sure. I mean, it was just that bad on the ward saves that they may as well have not even had them. Killing that unit counted as destroying units, so he had to take some panic tests. He failed the panic test with his Dark Riders, which then fled through the Harpies, who failed their panic test and fled through the Dark Shards, who then failed their panic test and fled back again. So that was nice. I was a little bit lucky there, just completely cleared the flank from a bunch of failed panic tests. That was pretty fortunate for me. Combat here, yeah, he killed both eagles and reformed very easily, which sucks. And over here, yeah, I did a good number of wounds. I killed like a rank plus. He killed a couple more of me back. I think I needed to kill like 1 more guy to break steadfast, which is just, oh man. I had 2 ranks. He had like 2 full ranks and 1 rank of like 5 or 6. So I was only a couple wounds away from getting them. It's like, ooh, so close. But what can you do? My archers killed the Dark Rider and overran into the flanks, at least give me some more combat res next turn. Hopefully keep those guys alive for my Silver Helms to run into the rescue. Go to Dark Elf turn 3. His Dreadlord charged the flank of my archers, so that's going to give him a little bit of combat res. And the Harpies charged my remaining Bolt Thrower. These guys then failed to rally though, and they kept running, which was nice. These guys both rallied though, so that's not quite as nice. His level 2 kind of danced around my Pastor Tech to march, and marched around my Illyrian Reavers to hide behind the building and behind the wall from all my stuff, so I can't charge her. And then shooting phase, 2 bolt throwers on the hill opened up at these guys and killed 4 of them. So it's a little bit fortunate there to have still have a Illyrian Reaver left standing at the end of 12 repeater bolt thrower bolts going at them. So that was nice. Combat here. So we cast. I knew this was the spell that he was going for. I saved all my dice for it, and he just threw it out really early and rolled high enough. Even with Book of Hoth, I was able to get it off. I mean, it was a low phase. He had a dice advantage, and I just couldn't get the double six I needed with the Lore Master and the book to dispel it. So Doom and Darkness goes off, which is going to hurt. That said, though, I'm within 12 of my general, my BSB, so if it comes to that, if I have anyone left to be stubborn, I should still stand. So there's at least that. That's nice. And he shot at these guys with his Dark Shards and killed a couple more. I think I'm down to like 4 at this point. Or no, sorry, he shot me down. This is after shooting. He shot me down to just 1 rank remaining. So this combat, this is a shot before combat. And this is a shot after combat. Yeah, he just completely went to town. I didn't even have anyone left to remain stubborn. Doom and Darkness was irrelevant. I'm testing on Insane Courage regardless. I break, and he decides not to pursue. The angle for pursuit was in such a way that when he pursued, it would have been impossible for him to get out of arc of sight of my Silver Helms. So he would have been giving me up a rear charge there. So he reformed to get 3 ranks to swing my Silver Helms when I charge in. I guess he figured he has plenty of time to charge my Lore Master with his Dreadlord next turn. The Dreadlord just reformed. The Harpies that had charged the bolt throw on the hill killed that and reformed. So we go to my turn 3. So, I mean, he doesn't need to give me that much of an invitation. You know, gives me the front of that unit. Sure, I'll take the front. They're pretty weakened now. So I take the charge and I make it with my Silver Helms. That'll be an exciting combat. These guys tried for a long ball charge at the rear of his executioners, and they failed. So, oh well. My archers, though, then he gave me a nice easy charge on his level 2. So she's on 1 wound and only has 1 remaining. So I was like, sure, I'll take it. I mean, worst case that happens, you know, she might kill one of my guys. I'll win by charge. But I mean, I'm only 1 wound away from getting her. So sure, I'll take that. And then both these Reavers charge into that bolt thrower here. I have 2 Reavers. I have 1 guy in 1 unit and 4 remaining from the other unit. So they both went into that bolt thrower. They'll all be able to attack. So here's the combat. We go into magic phase. I was able to get fireball off on his Harpies that had just killed the bolt thrower. I was able to kill them, so that was nice. I was also able to get off Miasma on his executioners. He stopped Ice Shard, but he couldn't stop everything. I got off Miasma, dropped his weapon skill and his initiative by 1, which doesn't matter that much, but hey, at least he's now hitting me on 4s, so there's at least that. Combat, I go in like crazy. This is before combat, and this is after combat, yeah. So I killed like 2 full ranks of guys. Like, it just went absolutely crazy. I mean, I guess I had 3 ranks of attacks for my Silver Helms, and I had my General and my BSB. He tried challenging, I accepted with my unit champion, killed his champ, and then the rest of my guys just went apeshit, basically, on his unit. Dropped him down to 1 rank. He killed 5 of my guys in return. He was on Insane Courage. He broke and got ran down. Interestingly, when he broke, that causes panic tests, turns out, and his Dreadlord then failed. Well, he had to run from the nearest enemy unit. Nearest enemy unit was actually my Lore Master, so that's why he had to run back through the combat that he had to take a panic test because of. Ran back through my unit, took a difficult terrain check, passed it fine, but then he had to end up there. So that was pretty amusing that he was terrified of the combat and decided, oh god, I'm terrified, I need to go run through it. So that was entertaining. Over here, though, he killed one of me. I have charge. He has 1 wound. He loses by musician. He breaks, and I run 12 to catch him. It's like, ooh, outrun that sorcerer. I was really lucky with that. He actually rolled pretty well, but then I just decided that, no, now's the time that I'm going to roll boxcars. Up on the hill, I killed his bolt thrower and overran into the second one. So there's that. Dark Elf turn 4. So at this point, the time had been called. Once again, I didn't think we were playing that slowly, but apparently I was playing a lot more slowly than I had thought I was. They had called last turn, don't start again, so this was going to be the last turn. He moved up his Harpies to basically chaff both my Swordmasters and my Silver Helms at the same time, prevent me from getting a turn 5 charge into his into his bunker, which sucks. His Dreadlord rallied. Going a little out of order here. Magic phase, he was able to get off Caress of Lenneth on my BSB. It was really close here, but I was able to pass enough saves to keep my BSB alive. It's like, ooh, thank God. Shooting, killed a couple more of these guys. I'm down to 4 remaining of the Swordmasters. And then over here on the hill, his Dark Riders that had rallied charged into the flank of the 1 solo remaining guy of the unit that got shot down, down to one guy for my Illyrian Reavers. There's only one guy left. Charge the flank of that guy. And this is it right after combat. So yeah, I killed the bolt thrower with my guys. His Dark Riders killed all of my killed my lone Reaver. We have to roll off to see who overruns first. He won the roll off and charged and got to overrun into the flank of my Reavers, which just sucks. It would have been nice to get that last bolt thrower. So we got a High Elf turn 4, bottom of my turn. I turn and charge my archers into the flank of his Dark Riders, just try to save that combat. I'll skip right to that combat since, you know, nothing, it doesn't really matter at this point. I whiffed in my attacks. He did, I think, 1 or 2 wounds. I lost by 1 or 2. My archers are steadfast, they stand. My Reavers are not steadfast, and they break. It's like, ooh. So in this tournament, anything that's fleeing at the end of the game counts as destroyed. So he basically got points for that unit. That's 100 points that I just gave him there. Over here, my Swordmasters charged into his Harpies just to clear them out, just get some points. And then aside from that, my Silverhounds reformed and just advanced to get into his deployment zone in order to just get a unit into his deployment zone to get +1 for the tournament. So he calculated it up, and at the end of the day, he was up by 86 points. Oh, another close loss. In any other tournament, this is a draw. In this tournament, though, that's an 11-9 on battle points for the Dark Elves for 86 points. That was literally just if I passed that last leadership check with my Reavers, I'm suddenly up by 15. And then it's 11-9 my way. But as it is, he got the 11-9 his way. I got +1 for killing his most expensive unit in his Executioners. I got +1 for getting into his deployment zone. So it ends up being an 11-11 tie, which is fine. I mean, you know, it's obviously you always want to win. But it worked out to be a tie, which it was close enough fought that I can't be that, you know, heartbroken about it. But what could I have done differently? So here's number 1 that I could have done differently. I need to be better with my chaff. I've said that numerous times. As I've been going through this battle report, it's just becoming more and more abundantly clear that I need to be much more careful about my eagle placement. You know, whether it's giving him a nice cannon bounce to kill my eagle, giving him a nice template shot to get rid of my eagle, or in this case, giving him a really easy overrun to clear my eagles that way. I'm just not careful enough. I haven't been able to use my eagles very successfully in any of the games this tournament to chaff up units that I need to. As a result, I've been put into some really pretty rough situations. If I have an eagle around here at the bottom of my turn, too, then I'm not worried about his Executioners. I just move the eagle over and chaff them that way, which would have been a much more simple way of doing this. But I didn't do that, which sucks. So instead, I ended up having to take some risks. Another thing I could have done differently, he had advanced, I got a little bit taken aback by how much he advanced. Like I said, I didn't expect him, I thought he had just moved 5, and I just thought that I had misgauged the distance. I didn't know that he had marched and that he just didn't take difficult terrain checks like he should have. So from this position, I declared the charge to try to save my Silverhounds, being like, okay, maybe my White Lions can survive. In reality, that was a terrible idea. What I should have done is just kind of let that bolt thrower that's fighting the Dark Rider, you know, the bolt thrower might win itself. I mean, you know, he's no longer on the charge. He might whiff again. I get 2 attacks at him, though. I only need to get 1 through. Pretty good chance of my bolt thrower not needing the help of the archers. I should have marched my lions up, get into range of Flames of the Phoenix, and then just move the archers up full speed into the path of his Executioners. I mean, he's 10 wide and we're close to the board edge. I don't really need to be all up in his face to chaff him. I don't need to be all up in his face to redirect him. I just need to be up far enough to where he can't wheel by me. I didn't see that at the time during the tournament in the heat of the game. I overlooked that like, actually, I can prevent him from charging me by just advancing up and preventing him from being able to wheel around me. He would have been able to wheel around me, but he wouldn't have been able to wheel back to get into contact. So with the 1 wheel limit of charging, he would have never been able to do it. So then I could have advanced up. I could have just 6 dice Flames of the Phoenix. I mean, if I get it off, great. Now that unit is handleable. Even if I don't get it off, though, he's now suddenly caught between a rock and a hard place. He can charge my archers, and if he does, you know, he's just giving up a flank and a front to 2 of my hardest hitting units on the table. And then I got a whole magic phase to try to buff it, which is pretty much exactly what I would have wanted if I had to draw it up. Instead, that didn't happen. I sent my lions in alone, ended up losing the unit. Luckily, he didn't pursue and catch my lore master, else that would have been a significant difference. I just didn't think he knew how hard those silver helms hit. So he thought that his executioners could take them to the front. Turns out they can't, as we learned. And I was fortunate there that I was able to keep my lore master alive and keep it as close as it was. But in reality, I mean, this should have been the turning point of the game. Another thing I need to do is the last couple games became really clear. I need to move faster. I need to be much faster. I'm taking way too long to move, and it's really hurting me, especially in the last 2 games. I mean, we only got to turn 4 here. I broke through him on turn 3. From turn 3 onwards is basically I have free reign of the table with my silver helms. I mean, he basically, it would have been my silver helms. He has no combat threats left to face them, and he's out of chaff. All he's got to either throw me his 1 unit of archers, his unit of dark shards. He can throw me that unit, sure. In which case I count as breaking him. He can throw me the general, but I mean, I'm happy with my general versus his general. I mean, I got a 4 of rerollable. He has a 1-up with no reroll. Again, he's at strength 6. I'm at strength 7. Sure, I'll take that every day. I'm pretty confident. And if I kill his general, even if I don't kill his general, even if we just bounce off each other, I have 2 standards in that unit. So he's at testing at -2. Meanwhile, I have a rank, so worst case scenario, I'm still stubborn. Even if he does a couple wounds to me and I lose combat, I'm still stubborn there. So, I mean, I'm happy with that trade. And if he gives me, a nice easy shot, puts his level 4 out by themselves, then I can pop my I could have popped my lore master out and tried to cast some spells at his level 4 and killed her that way. I mean, it was just the last 3 turns would have been just cleanup for me. He would have had to feed me points just to prevent me from getting other points, and it would have just kind of really opened up the game at that point. As it was, though, I was playing too slowly. We only got to turn 4, and yeah, so I just need to practice a lot more before I enter tournaments, play a lot more games, get more familiar with it, so that I'm not moving slowly and costing myself games by the fact that by the time I break through, it's turn 4, but the game is over. Anyway, that was this report. I have 1 more coming from this tournament, and then I have a couple of games that I've played since then. So a couple more reports coming. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.